So, subscribers, welcome back. Okay, so you guys have been following me along the way. You guys have been keeping up. And this is Chapter 6, Job Corps. Okay? We're going to jump right in. Hold on one sec. I'll be right back. So, I told you guys how I was hanging around my sister. I wasn't doing much with my life. I needed to do something. So I decided that I was going to go to Job Corps. And that's exactly what happened. When the tickets was sent, I was out. My mother was proud of me. Stepfather, over the road truck driver, mom was proud of me. I don't think he was around at the time. And my older sister, it was a reality shock because it's like, oh shit, he's leaving for real. So I left and I got on that plane. I packed up all my belongings, what I had, and I went to Job Corps, okay? When I went to Job Corps, they flew me into Kentucky, okay? I was in the Job Corps. It wasn't the biggest Job Corps in Kentucky, but it was a decent size, okay? And when they flew me in, I didn't know what I was in store for. I was going to meet people of all different walks of life from all different parts of the U.S. And usually how Job Corps works is the people that you fly in with, that becomes like your family. So I will never forget when I arrived to the campus. I was on campus and I arrived there. I also had decided to attend this Job Corps because a person that I knew was there, which was one of my cousin's friends that I lived with in Daytona, that I told you guys in the previous chapters that I lived with in Daytona. I lived with my cousin. Her friend would come over who I had known for years. And he told me that he had left. I had told him about Job Corps. This was in the midst of me writing my first rap before I went back to my parents' house and all of that happened. And he said he took up the opportunity. Shit, he was like, I'm out. I didn't know he was out, but he had left, went there. I had moved back with my parents, going through whatever, and then I had called him one day. He told me he was there, and I was like, okay, well, that's the one I'm going to go to. And I signed up for Job Corps, and I left, and I went there. When I arrived on campus, everything was fine. I ended up meeting new friends. I got acquainted with the whole rundown of how the whole campus was ran. This Job Corps, you would, basically, it was so mysterious to me because it was in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was close. It was like literally a good, 25 minutes from Louisville. I would say Louisville, Kentucky. I met a lot of friends that were from Louisville that attended this Job Corps, but also friends from all over. Friends from Memphis, friends from, Atlanta, friends just from all over California, just different states. And upon me attending this Job Corps, what would happen is how Job Corps was ran was you would be put into this dormitory. There was many different dormitories, but there was one called Rob, which was the best dormitory of them all. It just was more like home. The beds were better. The whole layout was better, and a lot of people, if you did good and you did everything that you were supposed to do, you would have an invitation to be able to be invited to join Rob, which was just a better dormitory. And I stayed in the first one that I went to. I forgot exactly what it was called, okay? I forgot exactly what it was called, you guys, but I was staying in that dormitory, and it was like not all that great, but it was straight, you know what I'm saying? It was just, we're just there to do what we gotta do and take up our trade. First, I was supposed to be a pharmacy tech. That didn't work for me because I wasn't really good in math. So I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm going to do this, which was involving healthcare, which was a really good trade because I'm actually working in that trade up until today. I made a lot of friends. I was able to express my artistic abilities. I'll never forget drawing names, and a lot of people start actually wearing these names. I would draw these names on paper and I would cut them out, and people would take their names, whatever I drew, and would wear it around their neck like necklaces. And we had that going on in the campus. There was talent shows. There was different guest speakers that would come to the campus. It was a lot of things. And how the campus was ran was in the mornings, you would go to the gymnasium, I want to say, after breakfast or maybe before breakfast, and there would be announcements of what's going on, what's to occur, what's been happening, meetings, if there was meetings that was involved, but it would be like a lot of like the whole like campus there. And then after that, you would go to your class, and you would go to your class for a certain amount of hours, and then after that, you would go back to your dormitory for the rest of the day. And there were certain different extracurricular activities that you could attend on this campus. Okay. I would hang around my friends. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden something happened. There was, because people are always being flown into this campus, right? Okay, so I would never forget what I was taking up, the trade I was taking up, because I had met a friend who I'm still friends with to this day, but I had met a friend, and this particular friend was from the same city that I was from. So we ended up being friends. But what happened was, I would never forget, we were going to a event or something like that off campus. And the driver that was driving us, a lot of the students didn't like him. So they started doing little things inside of the van that we were taking to get to where we were going. They were doing things to upset him. And I got scared because I was like, oh shoot, they making him mad. And you could tell when a person's mad. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was scared because I was away from home, miles away from home. And I'm like, okay, he's going to, because I am from Florida, you guys. For those of you that don't know, I'm from Florida, if I didn't mention that. But I'm in Kentucky. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to like wreck this van. So I told my friend that I knew that was from my hometown, I am going to jump out because I'm afraid that he's going to like try to drive us into something, because they were doing things to subtly push his buttons. So when we got to a red light and the vehicle slowed down enough that I was able to jump out, I opened the door and got my ass out. Well, that wasn't so good because I got out and my friend got out, and that didn't really work in our favor, because when we got back to the campus, they were like, okay, you guys, you're going to have to go home. Okay, but we're going to let you guys take the test, because I had failed the test the first time, but the second time it was going to be good results. I ended up taking the test again. It was like, you're going to still get your money, because when you leave Job Corps, there's money that you get. I think it's like $1,200 that you get to take home with you. And they told me, you're still allowed to take your money and you take your test, but after that, you guys got to go. And that's exactly what happened. This was after a meeting that we had with the director of the campus. And I ended up taking the test, not knowing whether I passed or failed, basically meaning like going on faith, leaning on faith, not knowing if I was going to get the trade or not. And I ended up leaving the campus. I ended up having to leave the campus. But before I left the campus, there was another set of students arriving. Okay, in this set of students that arrived, there was something that happened. I'll never forget going around campus on my last days there, and there were people that kept telling me, oh my gosh, bruh, it's somebody that looked like you. People that I would never even talk to in my life. Like, you know, the thugs that didn't really too much take on to gay guys. But they were walking up to me saying, bro, it's this guy that looked like you that just arrived on this campus, bro. He looked just like you. So I'm like, who in the hell are they talking about? I'll never forget, because they kept mentioning it so much. One day I was walking towards the cafeteria and I seen who I thought would have been the guy that they were saying look identical to me walking towards the cafeteria. So as they were walking towards the cafeteria, I kept studying their looks. And I was like, well, is this the guy? This got to be the guy that they're talking about. I was like, but I don't think we look alike. This guy was darker than my skin complexion. But the darkness that they had on their skin complexion did not look like they were a black person. It looked like they had like maybe Latino. You would say Latino. Because their hair wasn't like mine, which is coarse. You know, that's why I'm dreaded. They had fine hair. It was like in a kind of sort of little small high top with curls and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, who is this guy? Who is this person? And this person was walking straight like this, headed straight to the cafeteria. So I followed after them, not directly behind them, but quite a distance, but I was going to the cafeteria too because it was dinner time or lunchtime, either or. It was one of those times. And as I'm walking, I will never forget walking into the cafeteria. This person was way ahead of me, so they had already had a seat, and there was people surrounding them. So after I got my food, I was headed to my table that I normally sit at with my friends, and I never forget seeing a lot of females surrounding this person. And this person had their phone out and they were going through different things. But as I got closer and closer, I could look over to the right a little bit and I could see that what they were showing these females that were watching were pictures of them. And the females were they were just falling over backwards for these pictures and was like, oh, look at how good they look. And oh, yeah, that's nice. And these girls were going crazy over this person that was showing their pictures. So I was like, oh, whatever. And I just kept going on with my food and talking to my friends and minding my own business. After that, I'll never forget, maybe it was a few weeks out, I was ending my class. I was in class, but outside of our classroom, once class was over, there was a lot of students that were talking and friends that I knew that I had flown in with that were considered my family. When you fly in with a certain clan in Job Corps, they're considered your family. This person that they kept saying looked like me was around them, but I'm thinking in my head, well, I wonder why he's around them, because he don't know them like that. He flew in, he just got here. But this person was everywhere. This person was hanging around with this clan and that clan, and they were just coincidentally outside of my classroom hanging around the friends that I would talk to that I've known for since I've been there. So when I seen them, I never forget, I think I tapped them on the shoulder, or I got their attention somehow, and I said, hey, we should take a picture because people keep saying we look like each other. And they were like, oh, okay. So I just panned my phone right in front of us, and they propped themselves for the picture. And we took a picture side by side, face by face, snapped the picture, and I posted it on my Facebook. And I asked them, did they have Facebook? And it was like, Facebook? Oh, Facebook? And then they gave me their name, and I added them on Facebook. And that was just the end of that, right? At least I would have thought. So after that happened, I'll never forget, I ended up, it was my time to leave, and I'll never forget, I went to Post. At Post, there was a lot of people that were getting ready to leave out as well, and we were saying goodbye to our friends that we had known for almost a year. I was there for almost a year and a half there, and we were telling them goodbye, and I'll never forget, we decided to take a group picture, and in this group picture, I will never forget the person. Now that I look back at the group picture, the person that they kept saying I look like was in that picture. And I'm thinking, well, why are they in the picture? They don't know no one. But okay, they're just friendly and they get along with everybody. So whatever. We took that picture. I ended up getting flued out back home, where I ended up moving in the house back into my parents' house and awaiting my results of whether I had passed to have a license in this trade that I had took up. One day, me and my parents were out at the Brandon Mall. And I got a phone call from my friend who was from my hometown that I had made friends with up there, who told me that they had passed and that our teacher was going to call me and give me my results. And I never forget being so afraid, and I never forget my parents were shopping for clothes or whatever. And I stepped outside of the store and I said, you know what? Okay, I know they're getting ready to call me in a second. And that's just what happened. My teacher called me and she got on the phone with me and she said, hello, Avius. She said, I just wanted to tell you the results came in. And I was like, oh my God, you guys don't realize my heart was beating through my chest. And I was like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what are the results? And she told me, she said, you passed. And when she told me that, ladies and gentlemen, there was this excitement in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. I knew the trade that I had took up, but I didn't even know the work that was in store. But all I knew was that I had an accomplishment. All I knew was that I had something, finally, I had something on my belt that I would be able, that was going to help me. That's all I knew. And I never forget going back to tell my parents. And for some reason, there wasn't no enthusiasm, happiness. You know how a person celebrate other people when they accomplish something, but when you accomplish something, it's just like, oh, okay. That's how it was, ladies and gentlemen. I had accomplished something big, and they didn't really show a lot of love. It was like, oh, okay. I should have knew that jealousy was there then, radiating from my parents, but I didn't know that. That's right, the step parent and my mom. I never forget we went out to eat, and then all of a sudden, that's when they started trying to address it. Like, oh, well, my mom's like, yeah, well, you'll have a job anywhere, and yep, that's good now, that you have that. But I'm like, it's just not like how when I first told you guys that I had it, like you guys didn't celebrate me, but now you guys are kind of showing a little love. So after that, ladies and gentlemen, all of that wrapped up, and I ended up going back home. And I was in the house with my parents, and that's when I was taking on these concerts, okay? I was doing these concerts. I hadn't did like my first concert, and then it was time for me to do my second concert, and that's when my parents act like they didn't want me to go to it. And I'm like, well, damn. Because I was trying to pursue my dreams in music, ladies and gentlemen. This is before I could even mix master. I just knew that I was gifted and I had talent, and, now this is an opportunity for me to really shine light on my talent. So one thing led to another. After that, I never forget, it would boil down to my stepfather just didn't want me in the house, okay? Now, mind you, I had to turn 24 on the campus of Job Corps. So when I came back, it was like 25 days, I was like 26 in the house, okay? But I was still young. Even though I had a little street knowledge, it wasn't enough. I just didn't have the knowledge what I needed was someone to say, okay, look. We're going to take you out. You're going to get a decent job. We're going to move you into your first apartment. This is how I didn't have that. So I was stuck at the house and I just didn't know how to leave. You know what I'm saying? I just knew, okay, this is my nest and this is where I'm at. But my stepfather, with his evil ass, he would talk about me behind my back. He didn't want me to be there. And I'll never forget, one of my little sister friends' parents came over. And I'll never forget, my uncle, who was aware of my artistic abilities, he was getting ready to move my cousin who lived in Daytona. He was getting ready to move her to Atlanta, Georgia. And I'll never forget, he came to tell me, look, he had stopped by my parents' house, see his mom, to see his sister, which is my mother. And they were talking, and he came to tell her, hey, I'm moving his cousin, I'm moving my daughter to Atlanta. Why not see if Avius want to come? But I didn't want to come, ladies and gentlemen, because I was just so used to the norm, and this was outside of my norm. And it was like, okay, what's going to happen? So one thing led to another. I'll never forget, he was like, well, I'm telling you, now's the opportunity to come. If you want to go to Atlanta, now it's opportunity. And I was like, nah. But so he left to proceed on to go home, back to Daytona, to help my cousin move. And I never forget, one of my little sister's friend's mother was over there. And I never forget the subliminals that I was hearing that my stepfather, because see, he wanted me to leave a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. He had already been trying to sign me up for the Navy when I first got out of high school. And I'm like, well, damn, why is he? I'm fresh and new. I don't even know. Like, he was trying to get me going very, very fast, okay? He tried to make it seem like he was coming in because he really cared about my well-being and that whether I was successful or not, but that wasn't what it was. It was like, throw his ass in the Navy. It's easy to get rid of him. He'll be able to travel and do all the shit that his artistic, adventurous ass want to do, and I don't have to worry about him anymore. I didn't know that at the time. But this is after that, and then after I went to Job Corps, and now I'm back home. And I never forget, my little sister's friend parent was over there, and I never forget, it was so embarrassing because he was throwing subliminals saying, oh yeah, well, I never forget when my uncle was there, he was like, yeah, well, just take him. And yeah, he need to go. And my mom, she's saying little subliminals and different, and I'm like, well, damn, y'all making me feel like I'm unwanted. So I would never forget, after everybody left, I went into the room to confront my mom and my stepfather. Now, I came in there, I didn't come to like yell and loud and be belligerent and one of those children that curse their parents out. No. I just told my stepfather that, hey, it really like didn't sit well with me when my little sister's friend parent was here and you were saying those things that you were saying. It really hurt my feelings and this and that. My mom was in the restroom at the time and my stepfather was in the room. They both were in the same room because my mom had like restrooms in her room or whatever. It was a nice house. And I'll never forget my stepfather, after me saying that, oh, who you talking to? I beat your goddamn ass. And I'm thinking in my head, like, all I did was tell you guys that hurt my feelings, the way you guys were talking about me. So he gets up like he's about to fight me, ladies and gentlemen. He walks into the living room, and I never forget, we get into this big brawl because I'm telling him, like, you're not going to do, I don't care who you are. We get into this big argument. No physical fight or whatever. And I never forget my mom, who came out of the restroom, who was like, what's going on? I'm thinking she's coming to my aid. She comes, and now that I look at it, she was on his side. She was yelling and saying all these things to me. And I don't know if whatever happened, but I know that I said maybe profanity, but it was to my stepfather, nothing to my mom. And then all of a sudden he goes, yep. You done messed up now. You done called your mom the B word. Yep, you out of here. You out of here. But the way his face lit up and the smile, the evil smile. You out of here. It's like he was waiting on something, a reason, anything to have me moved out of the house. So I told them right then and there, I said, I wasn't talking to my mother. I was talking to you. And he said, yeah, but they hadn't called the police. Everything was exaggerated, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is with narcissists. Everything's exaggerated. The police showed up. I was getting my clothes out. And I never forget stepping outside when the police arrived. And the police told me, they said, look, we know what's going on here. Look, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is before I even knew about narcissism. The police officer said, look, we know what's going on here, young man. You do not have to leave. You can have them evict you, and you can have, and I said to myself, I said, no. I said, it's okay. I was crying frantically, ladies and gentlemen. I said, I'll just leave. And I got all my stuff, and they gave me a ride across town to my grandmother's house. My grandmother was a lady that was very, very wise, very sweet. She had a few health conditions that kind of altered her. Like she had a few strokes, but she was still in her right state of mind. But there was certain words that she just couldn't get out. And she would slur with certain things that she would say, but we knew she was there. And she always had this look. She would look at me as if there was something deeper she seen inside of me. Okay. She also had this look where if anybody was in the room talking, and she don't give a damn what they say, but if I said something, her eyes would stop and dart at what I said. My grandmother was the type that would come out to my mom's house and knock on the door. And I would say, hey, Grandma, how you doing? She would come in and she would sit down with me for 20 minutes watching a movie. And after that, she would get up and go. And I said, well, Grandma, what? But I realized now, ladies and gentlemen, that she would just come out and check on me. She knew the family was fucked up. She knew I was different. Now that I'm able to discern and really look back and see, wow, this is the reason why this happened the way it happened. After that, ladies and gentlemen, I was at my grandmother's house. My uncle came back to pick me up, because I had called him or something like that. And he was like, okay, well, I'm coming back. He drove all the way back to get me so I could move to Atlanta. Okay. He knew about the argument and everything. He was telling me it's going to be okay and stuff like that. But I knew the reason why my uncle was probably moving me, because he knew I was talented and he knew that was just the place where I would run into the right person and possibly become famous, because my uncle knew that I was very artistic. He knew that I had musical abilities, not just that, but also artistic abilities. And he just knew that I belonged in a place where it was involving entertainment. Okay. things didn't really work out too much in Atlanta. You know, I had my cousin who lived with her friend, the same friend I went to Job Corps with that I knew in Daytona. But he had a boyfriend. His boyfriend grew jealous of me, and I ended up getting an argument with him, a fight. I had to leave from there, and I went back to my grandmother's house. My grandmother's helped me move into my own apartment along with my mom, who was coming around the way. And I ended up landing my first apartment in the neighborhood that I grew up in, where originally my mom raised us in the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. I ended up landing my first apartment in this neighborhood that I currently live in now. They don't know exactly where in this neighborhood because it's pretty big. It's a historic district. But I ended up landing my first apartment, and this is where, remember that narc I told you guys that I met from Job Corps? Oh, I didn't tell you guys he was a narc, but might as well spill the beans. This is where, remember when I told you guys that we added each other on Facebook? This is where the story was going to unfold. He was going to bring a lot of enlightenment to everything that was going on in my surroundings. And let's just say all of those things that occurred with my family and arguments and this and that. There was going to be a reason why these things were occurring. And they weren't my fault. Even though I always knew that, but there was going to be confirmation. And all we needed was this person to play their part, That's why I tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me on YouTube. God will bring different people in your life. And you won't know the reason why they're coming, but it be reasons why they are coming, okay? Because God wants you free. And he wants to set you free from all demonic activity and things that have been trying to hinder you in your life from jump start. And this person was to come into my life, but you guys will know and find out everything in chapter 7. I will see you guys in the next chapter. Bye-bye.